just wanted to see if I can get a nice, decent shot here from the other side without the interface and having it try to have the settings cranked up as high as they can be. This is actually a feature I have on a mod I found called Narcissus, which is really good for like taking photos and such in game. That goes hand in hand with the ability to hide your interface and everything. So, also wanted to go ahead and take off this moment to show that I've finally got this mount from this place that we're about to do. It took me a while, quite a while. Like I'm certain I had like excuse me, well over 100 attempts on this sucker, but I finally got it. So pretty happy about it. So I thought I'd go ahead and start off by showing that I did get it before we go through here. So let's go ahead and now head into the other part of this Vrykul dungeon duo here, the one that everybody comes back to because they're trying to get this mount, and that of course is Utgarde Pinnacle. So we took care of Ingvar, but now we have to deal with the real problem amongst the Vrykul, and that of course is King Yimmeron. So first we shall talk to Brig Smallshanks, and it looks like Paltris is able to talk to us kind of like through the Force or so. I'm joking, but it's like an image. It's like, okay, how is she projecting that image? But anyways.
Interest you on a pint?
I love the name of this junk in my trunk. Oh, just look at it. Oh, me trunk never been so empty. Me mates jumped at the sight of all that booty, and now look at 'em. Rattling bones they be. Say, there'll be plenty of loot further in, and not the cursed kind, I'll wager. Fetch it for me, and I'll be rewarding you handsomely, matey.
Off with you. Be good.
Only luck spared me from the same fate as me mates. In the scurry I got knocked down. Was a wee bit tipsy to begin with. Looked up to see the first of 'em turn. And there was a big old fella watching with a whole mess of guards. They were chanting Yimmeron. Maybe killing him will free me, mates.
Off with you.
You need something?
We are hard at work, ensuring that we minimize our losses to the Scourge war machine. The Vrykul here are undermining that mission by willingly joining the Lich King's ranks. Please, brave champion, you must defeat their spiritual leader, Svala, before she leads her people into the eternal shadow.
Safe travels.
So, if you're wondering what he's talking about, take a look in this room. This is the King's Hoard. Look at this place. There's all this gold and treasure and gems and artifacts and all of these incredible things, and we can't take any of it because it's cursed. It be cursed gold, I tell ya. We be cursed men, Miss Turner. Oh, sorry. But yeah, it's basically the equivalent of the cursed Aztec gold from Curse of the Black Pearl because, as you can see, it turned them into mindless servant skeletons. Those are the mates of that dwarf he was talking about. They ran in, grabbed all this cursed treasure, and it turned them into mindless zombies. Or rather, mindless skeletons, excuse me. So we can't take any of it. Sad face. You know how many times we go into dungeons or raids and we see all these piles of treasure and we can't have any of it? Doesn't that just irritate you? You know, like, oh, come on, let me take some. No, we can't, because it's cursed. It'll be cursed gold. Oh, hey. So let's just say I've done this dungeon quite a bit, both, going back to farm the mount, but also in time walking. Now, it's funny, it's actually not part of the time walking rotation anymore, which confused me. Now, maybe some people got sick of this dungeon in time walking, but I don't see why, especially if you're still trying to get that mount, since it's a nice opportunity to try and get the mount. By the way, the first two bosses in this dungeon, completely optional. Only the last two bosses are required. So let's just say also I got a little pretty good at trying to make my way through here without having to deal with these things. Like, my Demon Hunter could just hop on and just run across. Same with some other classes, like my Shaman. I could just, like, quickly run by these things as a ghost whip and such. Since I didn't want to have to deal with all these things while I am trying to just simply get to the third boss to farm the mount and then leave, you know? But, yeah. This first boss is going to be dealing with an aspect, which is that the Vrykul don't really, as I mentioned this in the last one, the Vrykul don't really have an actual, like, position or rank amongst the Scourge. They're not necessarily a part of the Scourge. Like, it's not like the Lich King was like, the Vrykul will be now a part of my Scourge army. No, they're just basically an extra kind of, like, force, but more like fodder. Like, they have a use, which is to just kind of, like, toss them at us. But they're not, like, actually a part of his forces, not his real Scourge forces. However, that doesn't mean that some of them can actually become a part of it or join individually, as we're actually about to see as I go through also trying to collect the pieces like this golden goblet. Like, apparently these pieces of treasure are not cursed for some reason. I guess unless they're in that room over there, then I guess they don't have to be cursed, apparently. Now, I want you to pay attention to this upcoming scene, what we're about to see. Remember how I mentioned the Lich King was going to be a presence in these dungeons? Well...
My liege, I have done as you asked, and now beseech you for your blessing.
Your sacrifice is a testament to your obedience. Indeed, you are worthy of this charge. Arise, and forever be known as Svala Sorrowgrave.
The sensation is beyond my imagining. I am yours to command, my king.
Your first test awaits you. Destroy our uninvited guests.
I will be happy to slaughter them in your name. Come, enemies of the Scourge, I will show you the might of the Lich King.
So 2 things I want to point out about what you just saw that are kind of important. By the way, she has Armageddon in her hand. The first thing is that the Lich King showcased just now that he has the power to turn just a regular person, just an ordinary person, into a Valkyr. Now, from what we have learned over the years about the Valkyr, that's a big deal. That just showcases just how in tune he is with the power of death, that he is capable of turning any regular person into a Valkyr. Just think about that for a moment. The other thing is that the Lich King wasn't even here to do that. He was back at Icecrown Citadel, and he was still able to do that from that far away. I just want to reiterate this. We're over here. Icecrown Citadel is way over here. And he was able to do that effortlessly. Which is a showcase of how incredibly powerful the range of his powers are as well. So yeah, he can make anyone into a Valkyr whenever he wants. And he can do so from very long distances without even having to leave the comfort of his own citadel. So yeah.
I will vanquish your souls.
So yeah, she's using Armageddon. Svala distinguished herself as Ingvar the Plunderer's lieutenant, leading perilous scouting missions in Horde and Alliance outposts. It was she who discovered the enemy's plans to invade Utgarde, giving the Lich King time to prepare. For her service, he has transformed her into a Valkyr, revered warrior maiden of the Scourge. So, she has Sinister Strike, where she inflicts physical damage. She has Call Flames, where she summons flames from the nearby braziers here that inflict fire damage to random players. And then she has Ritual of the Sword, where she summons a random player to her altar and begins to sacrifice them. I can't show this because I'm by myself. But yeah, basically, someone will get put right here, and will get ready to sacrifice them. While being sacrificed, 3 Ritual Channelers will cast Paralyze on the player, stunning them until the Channelers are killed. After 25 seconds, the sword will fall to the altar and inflict shadow damage to all players within 4 yards. In addition, any player that is hit by the sword will become corrupted, causing shadow damage every second for 8 seconds. So, yeah, if somebody gets, surrounded with the shadows, have a 100% chance of becoming attackers. So, once someone gets starts getting channeled here, the other players have to quickly take care of the channelers to free them. Otherwise, then that's, that could pretty much be a wipe at that point. So. Yeah, well, you failed your test. That's what you get for helping the likes of Utgarde. Still gotta finish collecting some treasure for our dwarven friend. There we go. So that's done. So of course we got even some more undead Vrykul here. You can see here there's a savage and a flesh hunter, which are not even alive. They have already been brought back as undead on behalf of helping the Lich King and such. Now this is interesting. By the way, you can skip this. This is why I said the first two are skippable. You can skip Svala because you can leave the room before she's even done with her cutscene. So you don't even have to do that. So if you come here farming the mount, you can just run by, killing trash along the way, run past this room, and just go to the third boss and see if the mount drops. So. Now, this is an interesting part right here. Because you're looking at these and you're like, oh, statues. No. That's not what this is. The Vrykul keep many trophies at Utgarde Keep, and Gortok is among the most impressive. King Yimiron displays the frozen Magnetor's cruel countenance as a reminder that even the most savage beasts are mere decorations for Vrykul halls. This living statue will sow destruction if liberated, unleashing his wrath indiscriminately. So, when we use this thing over here, this stasis generator, it will cause 2 random trophies here to become active and attack. And then once the trophies are defeated, then Gortok will then become active. Which one gets released, that'll be different. And each one, of course, has different abilities that you gotta go ahead and deal with. And it's just 2, it's not all 4. So it'll just pick randomly which of these 4 different ones. Now, this is something else. You know how like, if you kill something, you kind of stuff it as a decoration, like a hunting trophy or such? And that's not quite what the Vrykul do. What they do is they kill it and they use kind of a form of blood magic to basically make them as a statue here, but then they can kind of bring them back to life for whatever reason. And that's kind of what's happening here. So, let's see which 2 we get today. Interesting. Oh, there we go. I was wondering why it was taking a while. Maybe I don't have the thing that shows, like, the cast timer. So it looks like we're getting the Worgen first. Remember, this was before Worgen were playable races. So in fact, we get storylines and such about the Worgen, even in places like Grizzly Hills, which... Coming back and doing these Worgen quests as a Worgen is actually pretty funny. So the Worgen has Enrage, just like Ingvar did, and he's got Mortal Wound. You could see him getting bigger and bigger as the fight went on. Then we have this massive Jormungandr. Hope I say that right. He has Acid Splatter, Poison Breath, and Acid Spit. So yeah, it can be a bit of a nasty fight. And then, of course, we're now going to have Gortok. And these guys, they are nasty and dangerous. Oh, never mind. Hold on. We're actually getting the others? Interesting. So this time it also summoned the Rhino, which has Stomp, Gore, and Grievous Wound. Let's see if it goes ahead and does the bear as well. Looks like it will. I'm sorry, the Furbog, not the bear. The Furbolg has Chain Lightning, Terrifying Roar, and Crazed. So yeah, this guy is a Magnetar.
What this place? I will destroy you.
Notice that he was brought back as if he had no idea what has happened since he got killed. Going, what is this place? Just assuming that we are responsible for his death, so he'll just go ahead and attack and destroy us. So he's got Withering Roar, which lowers our maximum health, and it stacks. He's got Arcing Smash, and he has Impale. So yeah, these are definitely fights where the longer they go on, because of the stacking up to 50 times, the worse it's going to get for you. So... Not sure why it gave me those achievements now, since we haven't even progressed to the other last two bosses. So now this guy. So obviously this is the boss that drops the mount. The Reigns of the Blue Proto-Drake, which I finally have, thank goodness. But that's not what I want to talk about. This guy. By the way, I'm amused that apparently he's got the Sulfuron hammer in his hands. So let me make a point about this. You remember how I mentioned about how the Vrykul, as it's revealed in the questing, we find out that Vrykul are what humans were? Let me read this to kind of help make a point about this. The Vrykul assign nicknames based on accomplishments. Cleansing a Drakari bloodline or decapitating Tonka might garner the appellation of dutiful, but it takes a true act of depravity to be called ruthless. That's this guy's title, Scotty the Ruthless. Scotty earned his title long ago for relentlessly hunting down Vrykul who sheltered the malformed infants, the predecessors of humanity, condemned by Yimmeron. I want to say this again. So, when it was discovered that some Vrykul that were malformed, which would become humans, were discovered, King Yimmeron declared that all malformed Vrykul should be genocided. I'm not exaggerating. He wanted absolutely 100% of all malformed Vrykul to be murdered. So this guy, Scotty, you know what he did on behalf of Yimmeron? He hunted down those who were sheltering them and not wanting to kill them, and he killed those people and their children. This guy's a monster. And let's just say I enjoy killing him every time I come in here.
What mongrels dare intrude here? Look alive, my brothers! A feast for the one that brings me their heads!
Gosh, I've done this so many times, farming this mount. So yeah, you fight through here, through all these warriors, trying to get to this area over here. The reason for that...
I don't have a target.
...is so you can get these. Because then what you have to do is put them in these harpoon launchers to shoot him down. Now you have to get in here, and the reason for that is because then he comes down his Drake doing this breath, which will absolutely kill you if you're not, like, it's not hurting me now because I'm obviously level 70, but if you were doing this scale down in time walking or in leveling, this will not only seriously hurt you, but it will eventually kill you. That's how much it hurts. So always do the middle one. Just always put them in the middle one.
You motherless knaves! Your corpses will make fine morsels from my new Drake!
So once you get him down, because of course that's the freezing cloud thing is the main thing, but once you get him down, then he's got Poison Spear, he's got Crush, and he's got Whirlwind, and trust me, those hurt. Those hurt a lot. It's personal experience speaking when I've done this both regular scale and time walking. obviously we know that he failed in his task to wipe out all those malformed Vrykul, which became humans, because we have humans in Warcraft. But that doesn't mean that he didn't kill his fair share. That's why he has the Ruthless title. He didn't fully accomplish his goal, but he did enough to earn that title, which... yeah, you probably don't want to think about that too much, about the amount of people, including children, that horrible monster murdered. But again, I want to also reiterate that it was King Yimmeron who decided to do that. He was the one who made that decree. So, yeah. And of course, that is who we shall be facing next. Proud King Yimmeron ruled the Northern Wastes until the Vrykul's long slumber relegated him to insignificance. He regained consciousness to find that his wife had been murdered, his lands besieged by enemies. He has cast off his mortality and demands vengeance, eager to show the terrible resolve of an awakened giant. So, yeah. This can be an interesting fight.
My home, and then dare to challenge me? I will tear the hearts from your chests and offer them as gifts to the Death God! Ruah Nya Gabor!
So yes, he's of course referring to the Lich King when he says the Death God. So he's got a few different faces based on how it goes when his health keeps dropping. I can't really show this because I'm basically going to end up one-shotting him, even with like an auto attack. But he has things like Fetid Rot, decreasing the healing that you receive. He has Bane, which gives him an aura which inflicts shadow damage on all players. Dark Slash, which inflicts damage equal to half of their current health. So if you're at full health, he basically cuts your health in half. And then he'll start summoning like a Fallen King, which will do a big scream that stuns you for 8 seconds. But yeah, he can do Spirit Burst, which grants King Yimmeron the ability to unleash a burst of spirit energy, inflicting shadow damage on all players. Shadow damage, physical damage, lots of different shadow damage things going on here. So again, I wish I could show off this fight in its entirety, but... yeah, I think the only way I could have shown off that fight is if maybe I had tried to take off some gear, but I had already pulled, so... But yeah, like, as the fight progresses with his health going down, that's when he will call forth on one of these fallen kings in each of these different longboats here, which is supposed to represent a fallen king. So that's how that fight progresses. He stuns you, and then he starts summoning them, so... And of course, each one gives him like a different like buff and such, so... It's a pretty fun and interesting fight. Oh, it's an elder.
Hello.
Every soldier we deny to the Scourge is more than one life saved.
Have a good one.
What's on your mind? Be good. Watch your back.
Ah, brilliant! You've gone and done it, matey. Now I can show my face of the captain without fearing for my life. Thanks be to you and your mates. Here's a little booty for you in return.
Off with you. Watch your
Ah,
back.
splendid. Maybe now me mateys be able to rest in peace. You the go, lass. Don't let it be said that the old brig weren't generous to those who showed him kindness. Good doing business with you.
Be good.
And by the way, this will not be the last we see of King Yimmeron. We will see him again. Especially our warriors. But that will be for another time. Now, that is basically the Howling Fjord and their dungeons here. But what do you say we now head on over to the other side of the continent and get a glimpse at some of the dungeons that we would have had to deal with as we go through the story of the Borean Tundra, dealing with this thing called the Nexus War, where we saw the Lich King's influence in the Howling Fjord, but he has others working on his behalf, including a certain blue dragon named Malagos. And we will be seeing what he's doing and kind of trying to pull off on the Lich King's behalf, as well as the behalf of a certain someone else that we will be encountering in Cataclysm when we head to the Nexus. Stay tuned.